Good morning, children. We continue with Shakespeare's Merchant of Venice. We have reached Act 5, and this scene is very different from the trial scene. There is no tension, there is romance, there is joy, and we'll just read that short introduction which is there on page 269. Act 5, Scene 1. The final scene has a romantic moonlit setting, with Lorenzo and Jessica sharing an ecstatic and poetic moment. Very thrilling, exciting. It is in complete contrast to the earlier Venetian scenes, the scenes which took place in Venice. Now the scene has shifted to Belmont. The memory of Shylock's alien world is banished. We don't remember Shylock. Shylock has gone away from the court a very disappointed man. He has lost his daughter, he has lost his wealth and property, which has to be given to Jessica and Lorenzo after his death. After the arrival of Portia and Nerissa, Bassanio and Gratiano too return. The comedy develops in the embarrassment of the husbands as they try to account for the loss of their wedding rings. That is, Bassanio and Gratiano, they insist that they gave their rings to men because Portia and Nerissa were dressed up as a lawyer and a lawyer's clerk. And Portia and Nerissa, they continue to insist that they have given their rings away to women. Portia and Nerissa reveal the truth about their activities in Venice. That is, eventually they tell their identity in the court scene. Eventually, Portia and Nerissa reveal the truth about their activities in Venice, but it's because they have been the lawyer and the clerk. The three pairs of lovers reunite. Antonio's ships return safely, and the play ends happily with a triumph of loyalty, prevalence of romance, as well as defeat of greed and hatred. In Shylock is defeated because he was greedy. He was offered so much of money. He was offered 3 times the amount of 3,000, but he refused it. So greed and hatred is defeated, and love and loyalty triumphed in the last scene. So it is a comedy. Only Shylock is unhappy. Act 5, Scene 1, Belmont Avenue to Portia's house. That is the way to Portia's house. Enter Lorenzo and Jessica. The moon shines bright. In such a night as this, when the sweet winds did gently kiss the trees, and they did make no noise, in such a night Troilus methinks mounted the Trojan walls, and sighed his soul towards the Grecian tents, where Cressid lay that night. Now here in this scene, Shakespeare refers to lovers in Greek mythology, Roman mythology, lovers who were faithful to each other, lovers also who were unfaithful. Now Troilus is a faithful lover, Cressida is unfaithful. Troilus was the son of the king of Troy. Troilus and Cressida exchanged promises, exchanged vows that they will always remain faithful to one another. However, there was battle between the Trojans and the Greeks, and in that battle, Cressida was handed over to the Greeks in return for some prisoners. And she promised that she will always remain faithful to Troilus. But then, when she was taken to Greece, she fell in love with Diomede. And for a long time, Troilus would always go to the walls of Troy, and he would look at the Greek camp, the Greek tents, and he would sigh, he would long for Cressida to come back. So here, Troilus is the faithful lover, Cressida is unfaithful. Jessica, in such a night did Thisbe fearfully outstrip the dew, and saw the lion's shadow ere himself, and ran away dismayed. So it is an appropriate scene, a moonlit scene. There is gentle breeze, the breeze which does not make any sound at all, very gentle, calm, quiet scene. So in such a night did Thisbe fearfully outstrip the dew, and saw the lion's shadow ere himself, and ran away dismayed. Thisbe was a Babylonian maiden. She fell in love with Pyramus. They were both lovers, but their parents did not wish them to marry, so therefore they were forbidden to meet each other. One day they agreed to meet in the forest, and Thisbe arrived first. Thisbe arrived first. She heard the lion roaring. She ran away, leaving her cloak behind. And maybe the lion snatched the cloak, and it appeared to be bloodstained. When Pyramus came back, he saw the bloodstained cloak of Thisbe, and he thought that Thisbe was dead. But Thisbe was not dead, but he killed himself. In sorrow, he killed himself thinking that Thisbe was dead. Thisbe later returned. She saw Pyramus dead and she killed herself. So both are symbols of faithful lovers. Overtrip the dew means walk very gently, walk lightly without making any sound. In such a night did Thisbe fearfully outstrip the dew, and saw the lion's shadow ere himself, and ran away dismayed. In such a night stood Dido with a willow in her hand, upon the wild sea banks, and wafted her love to come again to Carthage. Jason in his travels, Jason was a famous Greek hero. So during one of his travels, he came to Carthage, and he fell in love with Queen Dido of Carthage. And he went away. He went on another voyage, promising that he will return, but he did not return at all. So Queen Dido used to wave the willow branch and walk up and down the banks, hoping that Jason will come back. But he did not come back. So again you have two lovers, one faithful, the other unfaithful. In such a night, Medea gathered the enchanted herbs that did renew old Aeson. Now Medea is, you are given at the back on page 270, line 16. Jason, a famous Greek hero, led an expedition to Colchis in search of the golden ram. Fleece. Medea, his wife, helped him to win the golden fleece. That we came across that reference in Act 1. Besides, he gathered herbs, some magical properties. Besides, she gathered, Medea gathered some herbs which had some magical quality in them, and it could restore the youth of old Aeson. Aeson was the father of Jason, and it could restore his youth, bring back his youth. It was supposed to be some magical herbs, some plants which had a magical quality. In such a night, Medea gathered the enchanted herbs, enchanted having some magic quality in them, that did renew old Aeson. Aeson brought back the youth of Aeson who was old. In such a night did Jessica steal from the wealthy Jew, and with an unthrift love did run from Venice as far as Belmont. Steal from the wealthy Jew. Wealthy Jew refers to her father Shylock. So without telling her father, she took away gold and money. Remember, Shylock had given her the keys of the cupboard, and he told her, be careful, lock it up, lock up everything, then only everything will be safe. But then Jessica robbed the gold and the ducats, and she ran away with Lorenzo. In such a night did Jessica steal from the wealthy Jew, and with an unthrift love did run away from Venice as far as Belmont. Unthrift love. Jessica ran away and eloped with her spendthrift lover. Unthrift means not careful in spending money. So here Lorenzo does not really mean what he says. Jessica, in such a night did young Lorenzo swear he loved her well, stealing her soul with many vows of faith, and never a true one. Jessica, in order to get the better of this verbal talk, says that Lorenzo promised many things and he did not keep any of the promises which he made. And because of the promises, Jessica ran away with him, but he did not keep any of the promises. This is a verbal duel between Jessica and Lorenzo, and they are trying to get the better of each other. In such a night did pretty Jessica, like a little shrew, slander her love, and he forgave her. That is, on such a night like this, Jessica, like a bad-tempered woman, spoke ill of her lover, but he forgave her. I would outnight you, did nobody come. I could speak more about the night. I could speak better than you. But hark, listen, I hear the footing of a man. I can hear somebody coming. Enter Stefano. Lorenzo, who comes so fast in the silence of the night? A friend? A friend. What friend? Your name. I pray you, friend. Stefano? Stefano is my name. And I bring word my mistress will be here before the break of day. Early morning, Portia is expected. Stefano is the servant of Portia. Will be here in Belmont. She doth stray about by holy crosses. Remember, she told the people in the house, even Jessica and Lorenzo, that they are going to pray for the welfare of their husbands and they will wait till the husbands come back from Venice for happy married lives. For holy crosses means they said that they are going to a monastery to spend spend time in prayer and meditation for a happy married life. For where she kneels and prays for happy wedlock hours. Happy wedlock hours means happy married life. Who comes with her? None but a holy hermit and her maid. I pray you, is my master yet returned? Has Bassanio returned from Venice? The holy hermit is not mentioned again, but we know that Jessica, that Portia spent the time only with Nerissa. Only Nerissa accompanied Portia to Venice. He is not, nor we have not heard from him, but go we in. I pray thee, Jessica, and ceremoniously let us prepare some welcome for the mistress of the house. Let us prepare to welcome Portia, who is returning. Now we will stop there and we will continue the session in the next class.